The List Game is a conversational improv game. We discuss a hypothetical situation, and our cast has drawn a series of phrases from the chicken hat. Their goal is to slip those phrases into the conversation. Every time they do successfully, they get a point. If someone says, "Hey, that's on your list," and catches them, then they get that point. You can also bluff, making up your own. And if someone calls you, you get a bluff point. Do you tip your waiters, waitresses, bartenders? How about tip your podcasters? We need some help with this. Please go to patreon.com/listgame and give us $1 a month. It adds up to about 25 cents an episode. Contact us at listgame@cox.net, COX. Our Twitter is @TheListGame. Here's a promo from another great podcast. An anthology of stories in a universe of universes. A podcast called Chronosphere Fiction. Immerse yourself in the worlds of Gafgarn the Eternally Unfurnished. Monday through Friday at the Smith's residence. Thicker Than Water. The zombie apocalypse of Going to Pieces. Aussie, artificial superintelligence. These and more are waiting for you on the podcast, Chronosphere Fiction.
You know, leaking memory doesn't require fluid.
The fluid is optional.
The fluid was supposed to be urine.
Yeah, because that's what you call it when memory leaks.
Yeah, but only liquids can leak.
That's not true.
Gases can leak.
Anything can leak. You can have a leak of any substance of any kind.
I take a leak a couple times every day.
You can't leak crystal. Leaking diamonds, only through melting.
What if you had like a big sack of crystals and or diamonds, and there's a rip in the sack, and you're leaking crystals?
I can totally leak crystals. I can totally leak anything.
You can leak glass. Glass is actually leaky.
Yes, because glass is actually
flows.
liquid.
Yes.
All leaking requires is that you have a loss of something through some means. And as long
You
as
could be
have
leaking money.
You could be leaking money. You could leak money. You can leak energy. You can leak your will to live. Can
I am
leak.
leaking money at all times.
You can leak anything.
I mean, leak could also refer to those small onion-like things.
Whenever anybody asks me about what can leak, I say, depends.
You never want your diaper leaking. You know, leaking memory doesn't require fluid.
The fluid is optional.
The fluid was supposed to be urine.
Yeah, because that's what you call it when memory leaks.
Yeah, but only liquids can leak.
That's not true.
Gases can leak.
Anything can leak.
And it's time to shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
Because this is now episode 25, quarter of a century on the List Game.
That's almost a fourth of 100.
I'm your host, Daniel French, and I'm here with the regular crew, man. We got Kathy Lieberman on the soft chair. Ow! I got Rod Diaz Philosophistic sitting in my big fat leather chair. Dean has claimed his usual spot on the corner of the futon.
Hey.
And because they like each other so much, Blake is on the other corner of the futon.
Here I am.
Today's List Game topic, parallel universes and other dimensions. Tell us about your created universes and dimensions. Who's and what's involved, and what's happening there. The floor is open.
Do they have to be parallel universes? Can't they be perpendicular?
If you so desire. My perpendicular universe is called Reverse Cowgirl. It's very perpendicular. But it's always moving and expanding.
So our one thing I wanted to ask before we get into the universes, when we go to, like in the case of where spirits, are spirits considered to be in another universe?
Maybe another dimension.
Another dimension.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Same universe, I would think.
So this raises a great point, which is most of us don't really think often about what might be the difference between a different universe, a different dimension. Like, what are these things, right? I think that the fact that we have a three-dimensional universe, things here, we can imagine a two-dimensional universe, flat world, right, where beings just have those two dimensions.
Just length and width.
Length
no
and width.
thickness.
Everybody's a
No
cartoon.
thickness, right? But we live in a three-dimensional
Jimmy Power Hour.
world. And in fact, we talk about our world being a fourth-dimensional world because we have the three dimensions plus time. And time is one dimension and it goes in one direction, right? It goes forward and that's it. So that's our four-dimensional standard universe that we all know and love. But then physicists have determined that it's totally possible mathematically that every time we make a decision, there could be another decision made. And that somewhere, another universe could exist suddenly where the other decision was the
made,
reality.
Right.
Yeah, the multi-universe.
The
theory.
multi-universe
I think
theory.
it's a pretty compelling idea.
It's a pretty compelling
The
idea.
Star Trek episode of Captain Kirk and Spock, where they had the evil.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's tons of cinematic expressions of this idea where...
Yeah, like It's a Wonderful Life.
Absolutely. Back to the Future. You can look at Cloverfield. You can look at... There's just a range of them. And in fact, it's really the entire Star Trek universe has... Because in Deep Space Nine, there was another dimension that they would go to, and there were evil people there, too.
Same as South Park.
And they had to
That's right. That's South Park. And I'd be surprised if they didn't do it on Simpsons, because they did everything on Simpsons.
Yeah, they've done everything at least once.
At least one. So if we went looking, we'd probably find the alternate dimension Simpsons. So
Probably done that more than once.
probably done it more than once.
It's a porno.
It's where the red dwarf meets the purple
Backwards.
dwarf.
There's also those theories about like other universes leaking into a current universe, like with the Bernstein Bears. That whole debate that happened.
Oh, yeah,
at
that's
Lower,
really fascinating.
On like
I know
there's
that episode
this
of AVGN,
huge debate
but-
on how it was spelled with IA or IE for Bernstein, and like everyone was just convinced that some people from another universe
that's-
switched with other people
fine.
and stuff like that. It was crazy.
What can you got to explain that?
Yeah,
You
we
got-
all remember it Bernstein instead of Bernstein.
I actually remember Bernstein.
Oh, see. Go back to your own universe.
Go back to your
Which goes right into the universe of young Frankenstein.
Of course.
He would always say, Frankenstein!
I'm Frankenstein.
Yeah, I don't remember it being spelled the way it is, honestly.
It's crazy. I thought that was really interesting. Like, and it made me think, like, what if other things leaked into this universe and stuff like that?
People talk about time travelers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just somebody
universe
from
jumpers.
another universe or dimension.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we should clarify. What's the difference between a universe and a dimension?
A dimension is like another plane of existence in your
Yeah, Dimension
universe.
has totally different rules and like the Upside Down
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Stranger Things. That's another dimension.
Although, couldn't you
Right?
argue
Whereas-
that there's a universe?
Whereas
that
another
functions
universe
along
is
those
like the
lines?
Bizarro universe in Superman. Like, somewhere out there, we've got Bizarro Trump.
He's actually a
He's
really
pulling it off for
good
everybody.
person.
And he's getting it done.
So I think the way
I never grabbed them by the pussy. Never. I always ask
I
first.
think the way that it
He's
works is
grabbing
that
the weenie then.
I believe you have multiple parallel universes and multiple alternate universes, right? You got all these infinite number of potential universes where anything is possible, and inside those universes, the laws of physics might be different, the way things work might be different, or they might be exactly the same. That's kind of the whole point of it. Dimensions, on the other hand, are more like the planes of existence plus time is a dimension, and who knows? It might be that dead people, or what we call ghosts, are in another dimension. It could be that the upside down from Stranger Things is another dimension.
Could be the
and so
Fae.
dimensions are elements within the same universe.
And don't forget that Einstein says time and space are kind of like one thing that work together.
Not kind of like they
are.
They are. Yeah, time and space are in fact two sides of the same coin, such that the faster you go through space, the slower you go through time, and vice versa. The slower you go through space, the faster you go through time. So if you want time to stop, you just need to move very, very fast. Or if you want conversely time to go really, really fast, then you need to stop. And
I'm going for a jog.
an easy way to stop would be to go to the North Pole and kick it there, because you'll actually move less on the North Pole than you would on the equator. And so relative to people on the equator, you would move at a slower pace through time.
So you would age.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Your aging would be slower.
You just need to spend eternity in the North Pole.
But that's only relative to the Earth. It's not
that
relative.
explains why Santa exists. Because he's never aged.
It's actually relative to everything. Everything is relative to everything. That's kind of what Einstein figured out. What Einstein figured out is that everything is relative to everything else, and that you can't talk about anything without it being in some way talking about it in relation to the other things.
There's no.
You can't
in
talk
other
about
words, there's
anything
no-
without talking about everything.
That's right.
That's why black holes affect time, because they're affecting space.
Why'd you got to bring
around.
race
Absolutely.
into it?
They're pulling the space in so much and distorting space. Well, black holes are interesting because black holes might be a doorway into other dimensions.
That's what I was having this argument with my friend the other day, and he was all like, "No, black holes are black holes. You're dead." And I'm like, "How do you know? How do you know? Have you been there?"
I've been to a black hole.
Black
I just
holes
died.
are the bridge to another universe,
Quite possibly.
whereas the bridge to another dimension is more often than not sound waves. You actually make a bridge of sound waves to cross from one dimension to another.
Bridge is sound waves.
Is that on your list?
Yeah.
Ah, it's on my list.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound right.
I'll give Kathy part of that point too.
She deserves it.
You can
Thank
catch
you.
because that part of my point
They're giving me
honestly
the,
made no sense
I
whatsoever.
want to make a point
Yeah.
about the black hole. Okay, so a black hole is a singularity point of maximum gravitation. It's a singularity point of infinite gravitational pull, and so gravity has a lot to do with the space-time continuum too. And I wonder. I tried to think about what it would be like that this would be a gateway, but as a gateway, if you do travel into it, you're going to be crushed to a tiny little point, and if you get to the other side, what are you going to look like? Are you going to?
So here's the really cool thing about. As of right now, we've found thousands of black holes. And one of the things we're noticing now about black holes, because you would think that if you found thousands and thousands of black holes, that you would find a huge range in their size. Not the case. We have found exactly two kinds of black holes. Normal black holes and super, super freaking large black holes. And that's it. We have found nothing in the middle ever. And we don't know why.
They skipped super and went straight to super frickin'.
I promise you, mine is normal.
At the center of every single galaxy, there is at least one, if not multiple, giant black holes. And these black holes are literally millions the size of a regular black hole.
That's scary.
Yeah, and they're at the center of every single galaxy, and they seem to be part of galaxy formation. And one of the ways in which we're trying to determine whether or not gravity waves are real is by trying to detect when two black holes merge. That forms a gravity wave that we can detect, and we've built detectors that look for these gravity waves. And we've actually found more than one already. Totally a thing.
I saw that on Cosmos.
We can now say definitively that gravity, which works much at the same speed as light. So, interesting fact, right? If someone were to come along with the technology to be able to remove the sun from where it's at right now, right, and just move it somewhere else, all the planets would continue orbiting as if nothing happened until the light from the sun stopped hitting them.
We should take the sun and push it.
They will just go off in whatever direction they were, in their orbit. They
Right.
would just shoot off straight
Like
from that
a rock-
like a
the
rocket.
like
And every
a-
single planet will go off ting, 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 one at a time, but not all at the same time. They would do it in the order of the inner planets first and then going out as the sunlight stops hitting them.
That sounds kind of fun.
Kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Sounds like intergalactic popcorn.
But that's the way gravity works. Gravity works like light, right? It moves and it goes out, and it affects space in unusual ways that we're just now beginning to figure out.
So I have a theory.
Go ahead.
I have a theory about the black hole and how we could travel to other universes, because I believe we would be compressed down to nothing if we actually traveled through a black hole, assuming the black hole is an entrance to another universe. And that would be, we have to figure out a way. Light gets affected by gravitational pull, and I think if we can figure out a way to define ourselves or create ourselves in the terms of photons of light, that say your memory represents you, and you can replicate yourself by reproducing this set of memories again.
I know how to
that.
do this.
Then what we do
Your
is
memory bladder leaks.
right. We're gonna create this fluid of photons that'll represent you, and then we pass them one particle at a time through this black hole to make this
Leak them through.
make this cylinder of photon information.
Yeah, it's
of
like in
you.
a straw, and it's
Yep,
like photons and electrons and stuff. You have to suck it in
Yeah.
and gargle it. You have to gargle photons and electrons, and when you gargle it, it causes this fizz that covers your body and crosses you through.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it an intergalactic
sense.
space bubble?
Yeah.
Is that on your list?
Yeah.
I guess we have to share that point too, because that was simultaneous.
Honestly,
1, 2, 3, jinx.
when I was a kid, every time I saw a supervillain create like a black hole gun or something like that, I would always be like, just shoot it. I want to see what happens.
Is that on your list? Your gun?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. I got the gun too. The
I
intergalactic.
think we
gun.
should have a dimension in which everyone is a stalk of corn.
Nice.
Or everyone is a sunflower. Or everyone is a dandelion.
like
That was done in Rick and Morty.
Oh, that is
Which
an
one?
intelligent.
The corn, the dandelion?
Rick and Morty has an episode where everybody is corn.
I heard Rick and Morty was
one of the
too
dimensions.
intellectual for some people.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That might
I
be
did.
I heard
I'm
it's
afraid
actually
to watch
for really, really, really smart people. And if you're not likely to
It's
get
really,
it.
it is really a funny show, though. You should check it out.
I have watched it. I
is
like
pretty
it.
And highly intellectual.
But yes, there is a universe with just corn people.
Is there popcorn involved?
Okay, I was gonna say let's stop worrying about like how these universes and dimensions exist and talk about what's in them. Definitely, there is a dimension of corn people, you say, or a universe of corn people? I say a dimension of corn people.
No, this is a universe of corn people.
Yeah, a whole universe.
All right.
The whole thing.
Say they're on a planet that's doing what we're doing right now. We're getting climate change and things are getting hotter every summer and all that. When it gets too hot,
They start popping.
Yes, I want to see the popcorn. You all know I'm gonna bring it up, and you know it's gonna happen.
Eating people?
No, the Fraggle universe.
Oh, okay.
It's gotta be there, man. I want to cross that little universal black hole and go into that place where we're all Muppet-looking Fraggle people.
What about a universe with nothing but gopher? Like just a whole bunch of gophers.
Oh man, then there better be a whole
lot of
bunch
beavers.
of beavers.
Yeah. You need a whole planet of beavers.
Yeah, you need planets of beavers to help out those gophers, and then for the watery planets, it's otters. You know, 'cause otters are the beaver of the sea.
2 beaver planets for every gopher planet. That's how it's
right.
gonna be.
That's
That's
right.
the ratio.
In Rick and Morty, they also have an ass planet where they go in and it's just asses, huge asses with rivers of poo and just asses coming out of the river of poo. And then every ass every once in a while they'll just fart.
How about a world in which the laws of physics just don't count? You know, we're all basically superheroes. We can manipulate reality like Doctor Strange or something.
Totally.
I think
feel
there
like
should be
that
the
would be
universe
dangerous.
where just one of us gets to be the superhero in each one. I'm the superhero of this universe, and it's like
We all get our own universe?
We all get our own universe. Or
Actually,
we
why
could
not?
just-
Superheroes
I
The
mean,
over.
universe I was
Yeah,
thinking
it'd
of
be
was just a universe where everyone has like really mundane superpowers. Like
You can open cans with
Isn't
your
that
mind.
here?
exactly.
Isn't that now?
Well, what's your superpower? I guess.
I can
Yeah, you
fix
can
things
attract
that are
cats with
broken,
them.
specifically computers.
Yeah, so I can vomit out hundreds of pounds of peanut butter, or tons of it.
You can consume it and then
I can
vomit
consume
it
it
out.
and poop it out at the pooping planet.
Wow, what's the consistency when it comes out the other end?
Well, it's going to be chunky, of course.
A couple nuts,
build
maybe.
with it? I want to make buildings.
It's mostly edible.
Peanut butter poop buildings.
You probably
eat my
could
poop.
use it as
Peanut butter
adhesive.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Kathy's Gorilla Glue.
No, we can house the entire third world in cabins made out of peanut butter shit.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
it. That's each
Not
of
so
our
useless after all.
each of our universes are when we're the superpower. We're the superhero in our universes. Our power is so mundane. We know it's mundane, but everyone thinks it's like fantastic. But we know it's like frickin'. I got to take a shit again just to build up a new peanut butter house.
All right, no, here's my other superpower, man. I want to be the fairy guy. Like, well, not F-A-I-R, the F-E-R-R-Y guy. what's his name? Charon or whatever, ferries you across to hell. I have the cosmic dimension / parallel universe ferry, and you can come and pay me a little bit of cash and tell me where you want to go, and I can take you to the different universes and different dimensions on my cosmic ferry.
Is that on your list?
That's a bluff point, man.
And all it costs is a penny. Or is it 2 pennies?
I think it'd be great if we could find
It's 3
an
pence.
easy way to another dimension, because then that'd be like an easy way to go get resources.
Yeah.
If you needed them.
Right.
Go to a dimension where humans were never evolved.
Or
all
whatever.
the
Like if you
resources
got
there.
a dimension,
You just steal all their shit.
there's
We'll take
water,
this
there's
firewood.
yeah, whatever. Any resources that are useful, you could just.
Right. You can have like a little like portable like dimension ladder or something that you can go
Totally.
to another universe.
And anybody that can do this, that can bring people to the other universes and dimensions and stuff, I got my ferry and all that. I'm going to have a, Facebook Live show or a Twitch show or something where you get to see this happening. And it's like, I'm the new host of The Twilight Zone.
Ooh, man. I had
Kathy?
Yes.
Is a portable dimension ladder on your list?
You got it.
Yeah.
You bum.
Well, if it's after a nuclear fallout,
We'll be trans-dimensional like thieves.
Pirates.
Vampires. Trans-dimensional vampires.
I don't think going to a post-nuclear place to
Did
get
you just say
resources.
nuclear?
He's right.
Depends on where you're from. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Is trans-dimensional vampires on your list?
Yes.
wow, it's just a great day for Kathy and Blake. I think going there would be a bad idea. I mentioned this earlier. Going somewhere where humans haven't evolved at all
I
would
think
be the
all
best
your
place to
words
go.
are too predictable.
No,
Daniel.
they're not.
They are, because we've called like 80% of them.
I did that on purpose this time because you guys have not been calling.
If we haven't called anybody and then all of a sudden we're calling 80%, then they're far too predictable, by definition.
I did that on purpose.
No wonder all
We
these
just have to be more creative in our storytelling.
You have to really
Come
work
on.
these suckers in.
There's no way with these. There's just no way.
They are kind of tough.
They're impossible. They're literally impossible.
I was at a Ren Fair yesterday. Yeah, I was at Ren Fair yesterday, which was a lot of fun. I
He
recommend
was
it.
Friar Dean.
I wish. Actually, I was going to be a
He
pirate.
wasn't a
and
character.
my
He was
pirate
just
didn't-
frying chicken for everybody else.
Nice.
Hence Friar Dean.
Nice.
My pirate costume did not come in time,
good
so I
friar.
just went like a normie in my
You should
normal
have called
clothes.
Rod. He's got the ultimate pirate
I
jacket,
do.
dude.
Oh.
I do. I have
Damn it.
pirate.
I just wish I'd known that.
I love pirate stuff.
I actually went to a pirate fair once. It was like a Ren fair, but it
Nice.
was purely pirate
Pirates.
themed.
Way the
Yeah.
best.
That's awesome.
There were
Way
a
the
bunch
best.
of folks
like Ren and
who were in
Stimpy?
Pirates of the Caribbean there. Like
It's
Marty, the
Renaissance.
little guy.
Oh, Renaissance. Okay.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy Fair. You idiots.
Yeah,
Anyways,
all the Ren and Stimpy fans
I went to the
dressed up
Renaissance
as their
fair
favorite
in
characters.
my normal clothes, and that just got me to thinking like of another universe where like back in time we wore these kind of clothes, and in the modern time they wore Renaissance clothes. So it would be like a Renaissance
So,
player,
wait.
but everyone just wore.
Traveling two dimensions and parallel universes and stuff, is any specific clothing needed? Are we talking about
Aluminum
space
underpants?
suits? Yeah, aluminum underpants. Do we need an anti-radiation
It depends
suit?
on where you're going. I mean, if you're going to another dimension that's exactly like this one, then you need whatever you would need here.
Well, in the travel part, going from one to the other, when you're going through this,
You need to wear
that
a
entirely
cone hat.
depends on how.
Subway bridge or
If you're going, let's say you're going by way of Rick and Morty, and you've got a interdimensional ray gun that you shoot, and it makes a round green circle that you pop into, and when you come out the other end,
okay, no.
you're at your new dimension. Done
no,
deal.
I want an anti-radiation suit. I do not trust Rick that much.
So
He has no idea what you're being exposed to. I want my anti-radiation
if you go to a
suit in that case.
different dimension of way as the Flash, you just need to go,
Really fast.
couple
Times the
miles
light
over
speed.
the light speed.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, my version of the Flash is you just flash the right women,
Ah.
and you're just there.
and their reaction sends you there.
Oh, the
So-
screaming. Oh my
It's
God.
convenient when you want to get away from the cops.
I've got a scientific way that we would actually get to another dimension. We don't have this technology yet, but I can foresee where in the future we build. Right now, we're working on what's called a warp drive, and it's very much a real thing. It's a actual warp drive where we use a device that creates a warp bubble, and that bubble then moves through space. And the interesting thing about it is that whatever's inside the bubble is outside of the space-time that is around it. And so you create this warp bubble, and then you take that warp bubble and you send it into a black hole. And what the stuff stuff inside the warp bubble is protected by the forces and the sheer gravity that typically destroys everything that goes through a black hole, because what's inside the bubble is outside of the space-time and therefore will be protected, right? It'll be safe. And now you go through the
This
portal.
is not to be confused with a wharf bubble.
Correct.
Okay.
This is a warp
That's what he
bubble.
does in the bathtub.
Now, there's an interesting other thing that I haven't brought up at all, which is that we only know so much about black holes, right? We only know so up to the point.
We know they're black, and we know they're holes.
And there in the knowledge stops. There is a barrier, right, beyond which we just can't see. Mathematically, we know that at a certain point, we hit that singularity, and when you hit the singularity, beyond the singularity, there is nothing we can know about it, because even light can't escape the singularity.
I don't know.
Hold that thought. Don't lose it. Neil deGrasse Tyson in his show Cosmos, you're in his little ship with him, and he actually takes you through this going through a black hole thing. So cheesy. So bad.
They have not represented
Neil,
that very
I
well
love
at
you,
all.
dude, but shame on you.
Dude,
go ahead.
he should start a TV dinner thing, Neil deGrasse Tyson TV dinners. And so,
I like that.
when you go in, since we can't say anything about what happens beyond the singularity, because the singularity is the point beyond which light cannot escape, and therefore there's absolutely zero information that we can get beyond the singularity. There's a lot of things we could say about the edge of the singularity, like it looks like things that were going there might look like they're stuck there forever. Like time will stop at the edge of the
And this
singularity.
is the only place where you can cook these TV dinners that you speak of. The microwave does not do it. And Neil
That's
deGrasse
right.
Tyson TV dinner must be cooked in that bridge between
That's
the
right.
black hole
That's
and the
right.
next thing.
Is the TV dinner on your list?
Of course.
Oh,
Because they're all too goddamn easy, like I've said. There isn't a single one we're
no.
gonna fucking name that
I'm
isn't
sorry,
goddamn
dude.
called.
I called it out and I fucked you up.
I
I
told
was
you.
thinking about it before.
I'm telling you, dude. All of these are impossible to use.
Well, there's no danger in traveling through black holes. I mean, did you ever see that movie Interstellar by Christopher Nolan? It just takes you to this place built by future humans
It's
where
just
you
a
can
big library.
communicate with your daughter in the past.
The cool thing about that movie is that they did accurately represent how gravity would distort time.
Yeah, relativity.
Which is a function of relativity, which is a function of E equals MC squared, which is a function of everything I'm talking about right now. And so this is all tied
I
together.
still thought the black hole traveling was pretty, I don't know, unknown.
I thought the TV dinner
It is totally unknown.
It's only possible if you're Matthew McConaughey.
I thought
Yeah.
Interstellar was just okay.
I love the tidal waves.
Get the hell out.
The only redeeming value it had is that most movies do a terrible job with science. Most movies just destroy science. And every now and again, when one is, I have to give it a shout out. So in this case, shout out. It might have been shit for a story, but at least they were actually accurate.
I agree. I definitely like the
I've
way
been
they
putting
describe the
trash in my
planets.
DeLorean for years. Are you
And not
kidding
getting
me?
nothing.
Well, you don't have your flux capacitor, damn it.
That's what you think.
Got it. Oh,
Non sequitur, but I think we need a universe that's just bays. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying, guys? Just bays. Just bays. No offense, Kathy.
bays as in bays or
As
Your
in
bae
bays.
is your significant other.
oh,
Yeah.
like where my bays at. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it's all about forget.
like all boys. You want all boys.
It's all about
your boys.
Forget Tinder, forget another fish in the sea.
Oh.
You just go to this universe and,
And you just
Yeah, nothing but
You're all
bays.
good.
Nothing but
yeah,
bays.
bays for days.
So really, are we really working on a warp?
reals.
What is a warp? I mean, a warp in space.
It makes a bubble of space-time. And they've actually shown that it will move.
Well, does that have anything to do with plasma? Where they No, plasma is overheated.
Yeah, no, plasma is really just a very hot gas.
Yeah. So it's got everything's randomized.
It's the other state of matter that we don't really get much experience of here on Earth, but it is actually the number one substance in the entire universe, plasma. Good stuff.
Plasma.
Love plasma. But no, I do not believe it has to do with plasma. I am not 100% versed such that I can give you a cheat
Which
in my
brings
brain.
me to another theory on these dimensions and parallel universes. Is as we pass through them and into them and so forth, none of it has to do with actual travel or space or time. It's all about the blood-brain barrier.
Nice.
You just live in the reality that you think is your reality at the moment. And what's actually happened is you've passed whatever is needed to pass through your blood-brain barrier to believe it to be true.
I'd like dream, constant dream, whatever you want.
Is blood-brain barrier on your list?
Yes, it is.
Blood-brain barrier, that's
you're
too
on a roll.
simple.
I'm on a roll?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that when I sat down.
It's up your butt now.
I gotta roll up my butt.
That's right, man. You deserve it.
I hope it was buttered at least. It'll make it go in easier.
You gotta lube that up, man.
Okay, so when I brought this up earlier, it had to do with the spirits. So our spirits, we would consider spirits to be of a different dimension.
Dimension, yeah.
Coming into this universe, yet it's kind of part of our universe, but just a different dimension.
I don't know if they're. I always thought it as like
It wouldn't be something
you get
from
a
another
glimpse
universe.
of the other dimension because the way we see spirits is they're intangible. They can walk through walls, stuff like that.
Let
which is-
me lay it down for you. If you were a two-dimensional being, and you and I, being three-dimensional beings, were to go and interact with that two-dimensional being, the two-dimensional being would only see our shadow. They wouldn't see all three dimensions of us.
And you might really freak out.
They would only see a small portion of us.
Okay, I've got a really important question. Can we, as three-dimensional beings, bang two-dimensional beings?
Oh, yeah. You can totally absorb them. You could be like, you can pass through them.
Not the same way that you would.
You would not get the same completion, man.
But is it
So
still
you're
hot?
telling me-
You better flatten
It
that
really
thing
depends
out.
on what you're into. is
That's
ultimately
true. That's
the answer. Because if you're really into that sort of thing, then yeah, it'll totally work for you.
in Ghostbusters, so one of the Ghostbusters got a BJ from a ghost. You're telling
That's
me
true.
that can never happen for me?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying, Rod?
No, that is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the relationship between different dimensions is such that when you get a glimpse of something from one dimension's perspective to another, you don't get the complete image. You only get a partial image because of the difference in dimensions. And that if it is in fact the case that spirits and ghosts are from another dimension, then the reason we only see part of them or a portion of them or mists of them or fractions of them or just hints of them is because they are in this other dimension. And much like the three-dimensional person affecting the two-dimensional person, the ghost is like the fifth-dimensional person affecting us in the 3/4 dimensions that we live in.
Breathe.
So you're saying ghosts are aliens?
No. What I'm saying is that ghosts are on another dimension in much the same way that we would be in another dimension to the two-dimensional beings.
I don't know. Definition of an alien is someone coming from somewhere else. So
But if ghosts were us that just passed on, then they started out here and were us and then became dead.
So are ghosts? Do they live in a dimension that's? Are they solid, or do they come from a dimension in which everything is only in a gaseous state?
Yeah, it seems like they are.
Here's the thing about dimensions. Okay, here's the thing about dimensions that we really got to keep in our forethought at all times when discussing it, or else we stop making sense. Dimensions are all about perspective, and the only way to understand anything about one dimension versus another dimension is from the perspective of which dimension onto another dimension. So the two-dimensional being seeing a third-dimensional creature is not going to see all three dimensions of that creature because it can't. It can only see in two dimensions.
Right.
So it will only see the shadow, right? And
So as you're trying to
it's all
have-
about
yep, yep.
perspective.
I
And
think-
therefore, from our perspective, the fifth-dimensional beings called ghosts, spirits, whatever, those beings don't look like us because they're in another dimension. But if we can find ourselves in their dimension, they might look perfectly normal.
yeah, they probably are solid because ghosts can fight each other. Remember that.
So the discussion about dimensions has much more to do about perspective than the discussion about alternate universes, which does not require that same perspective thinking.
So as you're trying to have sex with this flat being in this two dimensions, your weenie's going to look like this little dot that then grows. A little dot that kind of grows in radius.
It's like it can't go in a thing because there's not a third dimension to split a thing. They just kind of come
Somebody
together.
might be into that.
Well, you can just like rub one out on the surface of the two-dimensional being.
Yeah.
You can fuck anything.
What if we were in another dimension where we're all like solid statues
Don't be ridiculous.
and all we had were our thoughts?
What if that was our real reality?
Love me some thoughts, as in that hoe over there.
Yeah, but she's over there and she's a statue too.
Do you need to have mass, solid or otherwise, in order to be?
Not according to Descartes. But is thought physical? Is memory, though?
If your memory juice, can you leak?
Right out of your memory bladder.
Depends.
If your memory is juice, I think it could leak.
Want a new memory juice diet?
I think we should be playing an inter-universal game of hacky sack.
Oh, yes.
Personally.
And the whole thing takes place on the staircases in the Escher drawing.
Definitely.
So is inter-universal hacky sack on your list?
No.
Very good.
No, I think we should
Very
play
good.
four-dimensional chess.
I think we should play 7 dimensions.
So, yeah, how many dimensions of chess can you play? I know I've seen like tier chess, but is that called four-dimensional?
No, I think that's
it's
three.
not.
I think that's
still three-dimensional.
3 dimensions, yeah. They just want to make it look
A
like
four-dimensional
Yeah.
game is very intriguing.
I still think we're truly only 3-dimensional.
Smell the dice.
If we were truly 4-dimensional, time would it be instantaneous? Like we'd have all time. It's just sequential in 3 dimensions.
The reason why is because you can affect time through space. And so if they were truly independent, then however you move in space would not ever affect time. That is not the case. The case is that you can change how time is relative to how fast or slow you move. And the way we know this is that we took 2 gyroscopes and we put them into 2 different...
Chicken pot pies.
No, we put them into 2
spacecrafts.
Into 2 satellites.
Yep.
And we put one on the North Pole and we put one at the equator. And we let them run for a year. And they had internal clocks in them that were set very precisely. And then we compared the 2 clocks. And guess what? The
They
one
were
on the
different.
North Pole was completely different from the one on the equator. And they were completely different in the exact way that Einstein said they would be. Therefore, i.e. and ergo, time and space are interlinked. They are, in fact, 2 sides of the same coin.
Also, we watched Interstellar, and Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway go to that one planet, and then they get held up on it, and then they go back to the spaceship, and the
That's
guy that was
true.
on the spaceship is all
true.
old
It's
because,
true.
you know, things on the planet, you know, they...
Took too long.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is the Bob Dylan quotient that connects the universes and the dimensions. You got to have the Bob
Bob Dylan
Yes, right,
quotient.
because he has on the one side on the parallel universes, he says you've got to serve somebody. In case you don't know the song, and then on the Matt Damon side of the dimensional thing, he says you got to save somebody.
Is the Bob Dylan quotient on your
That's
list?
a bluff point, baby.
Very good. Very good.
So specific.
I wonder if there's any connections
Very good.
between human beings or any creatures and our dimensional equals, our interdimensional equal, our,
Like,
our parallel universe equals.
Parallel universe constant.
No. I'm wondering, like
ourselves in another universe.
Like there are multiple copies of you. If it is in fact true that there are multiple universes, and it is in fact true.
There's also another universe in which he's banging his girlfriend instead of doing
right.
the list game.
Is there a copy of me where I'm not a degenerate bastard?
Yes. There's a copy of you where you're a decent human being, man.
Somewhere out there.
Really you?
And my question is, do we ever feel any connection with them? Like, do we ever
Yeah.
have any unknowingly, right? Interactions.
Maybe that's what emotions
Like when
are.
you get
Maybe we are linked in some way with our doppelgangers or our copies or our whatever we want to call them in other universes. Maybe we're actually linked, and maybe when we're sad someday, we don't know why we're sad. Maybe we're sad because something terrible happened to them.
That's why my butthole hurt yesterday.
Maybe there is some sort of link, right? Some sort of link between ourselves and our copies or our duplicates or our equals or whatever you want to call them. Maybe there's a fetal connection.
It's at the moment of your existence when
Yeah.
you come into existence.
Yeah.
Before you're even born, you're already in other universes, curled up in the
that on your
universal womb.
Which,
fetal connection.
yes, of course
Yeah.
it is. Trials are hard.
Man.
Because
that was good, Rod.
because Daniel fucking gave us shit today.
But that was actually a really good
It was very
idea.
good. Yeah,
I
the
liked
story was
the
awesome.
idea.
I was almost going to call it on the equal, but yeah, very good. Very
I
good,
give up.
Rod.
So, under the multi-universe theorem, wouldn't that also mean that there's another universe that whose timeline is virtually identical to our own, excepting, say, a single sneeze?
Yes.
From somebody on Earth, not even from ourselves necessarily?
Rick and Morty, they screw up everything. in the world badly, and Rick fixes it by just going to the nearest world that is.
Oh, I
to
saw
the
that
nearest
episode, the
universe that is-
Cronenberg episode.
Yeah, the Cronenberg episode. Yeah, and he mentions like we can only do this about 2 or 3 more times because there's only 2 or 3 that are so similar that nobody will know anything different.
That's untrue. Under the multi-universe theorem, there would have to be a virtually infinite number of universes in which
In the
things
Rick
are
and
almost
Morty version-
identical.
in the Rick
If
and Morty
even a
version-
sneeze
I
can
know,
distinguish
I
one
know,
universe
I
from
know.
another. Even microscopic particles could
Absolutely.
distinguish one universe from another.
Yeah, but maybe they're not
another
close enough together to where you can identify them. That could be a problem.
That's true.
Infinity is infinity, after all, and we all know what that's like.
Do we really though?
Are you a vampire?
You must learn from me. When in doubt, no matter what hand you were handed, no matter what you can and cannot do with it, go for the bluff point.
Yeah.
You can win on bluff points alone. I can't call you guys on a single thing. I get a lot of points on you guys.
Eat the bag.
Visually, we're watching Sam inhale goldfish from the package.
He's
Very sexy.
He's actually eating the bag. Oh my
Very
God.
sexy.
He's pulling down his pants and he's shoving the remainder of the goldfish up his sphincter. Goodness. Goodness me.
Wow, I didn't think they would make that sound.
I'm so glad nobody listening to this can actually see what's happening.
He now jumped onto the table and is doing the hokey pokey all by himself.
All by himself, you say?
That is right, Blake.
You need a partner. You need a partner to do it.
So who brought up that universe where time travels backwards and then you're actually poo is coming up out your mouth?
But if the time's traveling backwards, do you like unchew it and it becomes food
Yeah.
again? Or is it food going in and coming out what it is?
Oh no, it's poo.
It's like your poo
man.
coming back up.
It's all poo, in or out. Doesn't matter. It's all poo.
poo.
Anybody who tells himself different is they're
It'd be
high.
pretty weird to see a roast chicken become a normal chicken again.
It's like that's where vegetarians got it all wrong, man. Because it's like it doesn't matter. Everything you eat is just recycled poo. Every living creature was poo once. It was poo.
Circle of life, Simba, Akuna Matata.
That's why when I die, I'm going to have somebody eat me and then just take a poo in the forest. There's Kathy, and there's her barrel, there's her tree.
All right, you guys want to count up some points?
Oh, my
I'm
God.
feeling good. Remember, it's not who wins the game. It's the matter that the people who are listening to this
Give us money.
I got 1 point. Hundreds of tons of peanut butter. That's it.
Hundreds of tons of peanut butter, and she did it quite well. So Kathy has a total of 3 points. Oh, 3.5 points. I'm sorry. Rod, who is extremely mad at me. I tried to make a challenge this time, man. And
Rod, you were good,
Maybe
though.
it was
It
too
was-
much of a challenge.
It was a good challenge.
It was a tough one. All right, what do you got, brother?
I got 2. 4-dimensional chess game and time-space vibration.
All right, Dean.
I actually didn't get any except for that 1 point I called Roz on.
You didn't use any of that stuff I gave you?
Most of it was, I tried to use some.
Oh, come on.
me too.
All right. Let's all bag on Dean. What do you got, Dean? What do you got?
Trans-universe Noah's Ark. Oh, wait, that's...
Trans-universe Noah's Ark. We talked about going to other universes. We're not going to take all the animals with us. You suck. That's an easy one.
Saying this out loud changed the way, because I read it differently in my head. When I read trans, I was thinking
What,
about...
you thought that all the animals on board were like
Exactly. That's what I
transsexual?
thought.
That's what he was
I thought they
thinking.
came from the trans
Totally.
universe.
The trans
Just
universe.
going from one universe to another.
Everybody is the
Trans-universe.
opposite sex.
Noah's Ark, bring the animals with us,
I should have
man.
said it
No,
out loud.
man, they were all bisexual
So there you go.
or transsexual.
You lost an easy point there.
yeah.
All right.
Shame on you, Dean.
What else you got?
Physician on DMT, creme brulee. Have you never had?
Creme brulee?
I actually haven't.
It's
It's like
delicious.
flan.
That's right.
It's like torched flan.
Physicians on
Crunchy
DMT?
flan.
Come on, easy.
Stacking subatomic particles, which I was gonna bring up with useless
Easy when we early in the game
superpowers.
talking about the black holes and stuff. Stacking?
Yeah.
come
Like, I
on.
know enough about
Easy stuff.
I don't know anything
Everybody
about
out
science.
there in podcast
All right,
land.
guys. I know nothing about science.
Just make shit up about science.
And
You
you
gotta
go with
fake
Rob
it,
next
man.
to me? Yeah, right. You would be calling me out. Photon memories? I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I made that up.
Oh,
Nobody
you did?
knows.
Okay.
Photon is
Oh,
light.
you totally could have done that when
And
I was doing
memories,
my photons
memories.
of us going through the black hole when we were transitioning. When we were
Dude, come on, man. Have you ever
yeah.
watched any crazy movies?
just not on my not on my day. And then she called me out on the black hole.
All right.
Yeah.
Blake, as usual, kicks some major ass. What do you got?
Well, some considerable ass. I don't know about major. Dandelion people?
That was a
I was
sneaker.
talking about the, the people made out of corn stalks.
Oh, that-
Doctor Strange.
Good one.
I got half of Where My Bay's At, only in a gaseous state.
Now we're gonna bag on Sam. Sorry, Sam, we're gonna bag on you. I gave Sam Dimension of the Tunes, aka Roger Rabbit.
I would have totally done that one.
Toontown, that's a great top.
I gave Sam In the Garden of Silicon. I gave Sam Praying at the Obelisk. All right, without mentioning the ones I got caught on, I got 2 bluff points. I got, oh, come on, you guys, you didn't call me on this, man. I'm such a sucker.
Is it the Fraggle Rock one?
The Fraggle Universe, of course,
I
man.
wanted to call you on that, but you would say the Fraggle Rock universe.
But yeah,
I'm just
I
too
put it in
accustomed
there.
to hearing
Okay.
it in every episode.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
Yeah. How are we supposed to call you when it's in goddamn every episode?
Okay, I won't do
It would
that.
be like
Christ.
eating people.
You should have given it to
I
Sam.
won't do that to you.
Dumb.
You're
That's
right.
a reverse
You're
Gibby.
right. Okay.
That's a reverse Gibby.
All
We
right.
should all get a point for that
I
one.
give everybody a point for my Fraggle
Nice.
Universe
Good.
thing.
Freaking
All right.
lame.
Everybody gets a point, so that way it knocks me down and I can't win.
Yeah.
All right. I had anti-radiation suit. I had hosting the Twilight Zone from my ferry between the universes. I had Escher's staircase. And I had at the very beginning Bizarro Trump. I won't call out each person's point, but next time we got to gang up on Blake because he's won like 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah, I'm winning.
We got to
too,
take
man.
this man down.
Are we not in the universe where the lowest score wins? I'm in the wrong universe.
The golf universe, yes. Once again, this is a fine and fantastic, beautiful, wonderful episode of the List Game brought to you by
Stango Vision.
And I'll make it even more challenging next time. Or I'll be really mad.
It's upping our game.